Let's talk about the top 3 discoveries that were made by accident. Number 1. Penicillin. The year is 1928. Alexander Fleming is working at St. Mary's Hospital in London, primarily focusing on bacteriology. His main line of research was exploring the properties of Staphylococcus, a type of bacteria. Before leaving for a 2-week vacation in August 1928, he left a number of Petri dishes containing these cultures on his lab bench. While he was away, one of these dishes became contaminated with a spore of a mold called Penicillium notatum. This likely drifted in from a nearby lab or possibly through an open window. Upon his return, Fleming noticed that the bacteria in the vicinity of the mold had been destroyed, while bacteria further away were normal. This indicated that the mold was releasing a substance that was inhibiting bacterial growth. Fleming realized the significance of this observation. He theorized that if a mold could kill bacteria in a petri dish, it could potentially do the same in the human body. This led him to conduct further experiments. Fleming named the active substance released by the mold penicillin. He published his findings in 1929, although it took over a decade for penicillin to be developed into a usable form by other scientists. This discovery revolutionized medicine by introducing antibiotics, saving millions of lives and effectively treating bacterial infections. Number 2. X-rays. Let's travel from London to Würzburg and back in time to 1895. Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen was a professor at the University of Würzburg in Germany. He was working with cathode ray tubes, a type of electrical discharge tube that had a partial vacuum inside. Röntgen was experimenting with a Crookes tube, a type of cathode ray tube. He had enclosed the tube in black cardboard to prevent the light emitted by the tube from escaping, as he was interested in studying the cathode rays, that are electron beams, that were understood to be emitted from these tubes. Despite the tube being covered, Röntgen noticed that a fluorescent screen placed at a distance away in his lab started to glow whenever the tube was activated. This glow occurred even though the screen was too far from the tube for the cathode rays themselves to be reaching it. Intrigued by this unexpected glow, Röntgen theorized that some form of unknown ray was emanating from the tube, capable of passing through the tube's covering and the intervening space. He conducted a series of experiments to investigate these rays, which included observing their ability to pass through various objects and materials. Röntgen discovered that these rays could pass through most substances, casting shadows of solid objects onto screens or photographic plates. Most notably, he observed the bones of his hand on a screen, recognizing that these rays could penetrate human tissue, but not bones or metal objects. Röntgen named these mysterious rays X-rays, with the X denoting their unknown nature. He took several photographic plates to capture images created by these rays, including the famous image of his wife's hand showing her ring and bones. X-rays profoundly impacted medical diagnostics, allowing non-invasive internal imaging of the body, which has been crucial in medical diagnosis and research. X-rays are a form of electromagnetic radiation, but they are not radioactive. X-rays are produced by accelerating electrons and causing them to collide with a target material, unlike radioactive materials, which emit particles from their atomic nuclei, which brings us to our third discovery. Number 3. Radioactivity. Henri Becquerel's accidental discovery of radioactivity in 1896 was a landmark event in physics, and it occurred under quite unique circumstances. His discovery was closely tied to the study of phosphorescence and the recent discovery of X-rays by Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen. Henri Becquerel was investigating phosphorescence, a phenomenon where certain substances emit light after being exposed to external light. Specifically, he was studying the phosphorescent properties of uranium salts. The recent discovery of X-rays by Röntgen in 1895 inspired Becquerel. He wondered if phosphorescent materials, like the uranium salts he was studying, emitted X-rays after being exposed to sunlight. Becquerel wrapped a photographic plate in black paper and placed uranium salts on top of it, then exposed the setup to sunlight, hoping the salts would absorb the sunlight and emit X-rays to expose the photographic plate. However, due to overcast weather, he couldn't conduct the experiment as planned and stored the wrapped plate and uranium salts in a drawer. When Becquerel developed the photographic plates a few days later, expecting minimal exposure due to the lack of sunlight, he was surprised to find a clear image of the uranium salts on the plate. This indicated that the salts emitted radiation without any exposure to sunlight, which was entirely unexpected. Becquerel realized that the uranium salts were emitting a type of radiation that was different from X-rays and did not require any external source of energy like sunlight. This radiation was inherent to the uranium itself. Becquerel's discovery was significant for several reasons. Birth of nuclear physics. It led to the birth of the field of nuclear physics. The concept of radioactivity, a term later coined by Marie Curie, fundamentally changed the understanding of atomic structure and energy. Medical applications. Radioactivity opened up new avenues in medicine, particularly in diagnostic imaging and cancer treatment through radiation therapy. Scientific advancements. The study of radioactivity paved the way for further groundbreaking work, including the discovery of the electron, the development of quantum theory, and the understanding of nuclear fission and fusion. All three scientists have been awarded Nobel Prizes for their discoveries.